Buenas, buenas, buenas. I'm Vanessa, the host of Chicklet, a podcast where I share my honest reviews of books that I think Latinas, first gens, and women would enjoy. Please subscribe and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and YouTube at Chicklet Podcast. I have weekly YouTube videos where I talk about my life and more current personal matters. So if that sounds like something that interests you, you can find that on my YouTube channel as well as my podcast episodes. I also want to ask you, if you're listening to this, please fill out my survey. I'm currently working with a mentor to make Chicklet Podcast a success. One of her requests was to survey my listeners. Please complete the survey and share your thoughts. Your feedback will directly influence the future direction of the podcast and ensure it continues to resonate with amazing listeners like you. So please do that. The link is in the description of today's episode. I appreciate you and enjoy today's episode with my good friend Marbz, where we talk about Fourth Wing. We freak out literally the entire hour, so just enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, I feel like this is gonna be so good because you just finished it, so I feel like your reaction is like fresh.
I had a plan to intro you. I had a plan to do my little speech of my podcast. I can't do that. That is off the table. Fuck the intro, girl. Listen to another episode. Fuck the intro to the episode. No, we need to talk about the book.
This makes me so excited because I feel like you liked it, and I was thinking we were gonna get on here, and I'm like, fuck, I'm literally gonna have to convince this bitch to like this shit. Okay, go ahead. Wait, I need to know, what should we even talk about first? Should we say which book we're talking about? Or this is how you know. Side note, this is how you know the book is fucking good, because we literally completely forgot to even say what book we're talking about.
I'm not joking. I was gonna text you this, but I'm like, this might be weird through text. My nipples got hard the last 3 sentences of the book. I was like,
yeah, it's good. It's so good.
It's so good. It's so good. Wait, let's go from the beginning. So okay. So
I'm gonna pull it up on my iPad too, because I when I read it, I highlighted my favorite parts, so I want to have it fresh in my mind. But go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, cool. No. So we'll so from the very beginning, right? So I'm not good at explaining these alternate universes, you know what I'm saying? Feel free to interrupt and make it more clear. But basically it kind of reminds me of what's that?
Hunger Games?
Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of Harry Potter because they're kids learning, they're going in their schools, they have their own quadrants or whatever. They all have their own things that they're kind of doing.
The only reason I don't think it's Harry Potter is because Harry Potter is there's the Muggle world, and then there's this is just the world. It's the world as it is.
Accurate.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes. Even you'll learn in the second book, there's even there's an extension of because let's say they're in America for whatever, there's if they go to Europe, there's still dragons there, there's still it's still kind of, so it's just real life. But yeah, I do agree that it gives it's magical, there's magic, but it's not, I feel it's not exaggerated magic. That's what I like about it. It almost seems realistic, it could happen.
I mean, when you're talking about magic, I just don't know how realistic it could be. But I hear you because I hear you. But wait, so let's go to the beginning. So there's different quadrants, right? And so they're in this one, they're predominantly the whole time in this one quadrant that's the riders. And so these riders in the book Fourth Wing, by the way, because we still have not told anyone what the book is. Fourth Wing.
Wait, and they have to go through trials to become a rider. You're basically strong and powerful, you become a rider. And then if you're really smart and you're into books, you become a scribe, which is just literally, it's the Ravenclaws of Harry Potter. If you're smart, you know what I mean? And then okay.
So the main character, Violet,
yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. She wants to be a scribe, and she's been trained as a scribe her whole life. Her dad was a scribe, and she's just a lover of knowledge and facts and history, and she's just really naturally good at that. But her mom is a writer, and she forces her to become a writer against her will.
And so
not only is her mom a writer, but she is General Soaringale. Like, she is the, like, this bitch is, she's like the top of the food chain of writers. And Violet's late father was a scribe. So he taught her everything she knew, and he like trained her to become this like super knowledgeable scribe. And I think it's important to note that Violet also has an illness. What's it called? When your bones are really weak. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice that it was an illness.
Yeah, so it's not like outwardly told, like she doesn't like outwardly say it, but you know how like she talks about being weak and her bones break very easily, and that's why she had that person, I forget his name, but that was he was a healer. Like when they were in their in their childhood, and that's why Dain was so annoyingly fucking protective over her, but that's why he was so protective over her, because this has been like this since she's a little kid. Like, a sprained ankle for her is like she broke 80 fucking bones, you know?
Right. And so for more context, Dain is her childhood friend who, when she goes into the rider like quadrant, he's there. He's been there for like a year or two, right? Because he's a second year, I think, right?
He's a second year, and you have to go back to the original point. Like, you do have to go through like a really difficult trial, I guess, to get into the writer's quadrant. So what Vanessa was saying, the mom kind of forced her into the writer's quadrant, and everybody was not with it, basically. Her sister, who is a very strong writer and has her own dragon and is also like very important in the realm of writers, also didn't support it. Like, she was very scared. Her brother, who passed away, was also a writer. They keep saying like he wouldn't support this either, because they just thought of her as the weak like person who got her fucking bones broken all the time.
Not only that, but like she's really weak and like she can't be a writer, and also like she is really smart. Like, she would have been an amazing scribe. So it's like, why would you take her away from that to make her a writer? And so when she goes into this thing, like Marbz was saying, there's like crazy tests, and so many people die. Day one, the moment you walk in, like 15% of people die. And it's them walking across that wall, and they fall 200 feet to their death. So 15% of people die day one, first 5 minutes. And then as the days progress and as the like years progress, more and more people die for the challenges. They have to fight. Some people fight to the death. There's certain rules, and people break the rules and kill each other. It's
like Divergent. Have you seen it? Like, you know how they literally make people fight and they have the board or whatever? That's the vibe that it gives me. Like, that specific time that you're talking about gave me that vibe.
Yes. And so, rightfully so, her best friend, who she grew up with, Dain, he views her as this really weak, smart girl. So he's like, wants to protect her. He wants to bring her where she should be, the scribe. It was cute in the beginning. Like, I was telling Marbz like earlier in the book, I was like, I love Dain. Like, I totally get it. Like, I agree she should leave because, you know, it's a book, so it's cute, whatever. She wants to be the hero. I get it. But in real life, she should have gone back. Like, she would have died. Like, I don't know, she would have died. But this is not real life. It's not real life. So there's no point.
I was just going to say, literally, that does not matter because this is not real. Like, you can't think like that, because I get what you're saying. Realistically, like, bitch, your bones are breaking. But also, I actually think, like, if you do want to, like, think of it realistically, people can do shit. It's not common, but you can be the, like, anomaly. Like, you can be the person that has this disease and is super fragile, but you do this thing that is, like, super amazing and requires you to use your physical self to do shit. Like, you can do it, but it's an anomaly, and that's exactly what she is. Like, she's not common. I think it's really cool because I think that throughout the book, like in the beginning, I get what you were saying with Dain. I didn't like him from the beginning because he pissed me off. Like, I can't stand the Tamlins of the fantasy universe, and I don't think you've read ACOTAR, but I don't know.
I did. I read the first one.
Okay. I don't like Tamlins. Like, it doesn't do anything for me. Like, Golden Boys, like, literally, it's like, give me somebody dark, juicy. I want the baddest boy of them all. Right. Like, to me, I just, like, need a little, you know? So I feel like, for me, I didn't like Dain in the beginning, but I did understand what you were saying, where it's like, he just knew this fragile girl from when they were younger, and he just wanted to protect her. But I think at some point, you're getting to know her and her thought process, and she is so smart, and she's utilizing her wits to get her past these trials that are physical. This bitch is like Carmen Sandiego. Like, she's like figuring out the clues, okay? She's doing it. And I think that that's like really telling, because she has these things that are holding her back, but she's so much smarter than everybody that she's even ahead of these people that are physically over her. And I think that's super telling to who she is as a character. Like, that's why I really like her.
No, 100%. What she lacks in the physical aspect, she makes up for it in intelligence, and it proves time and time again to be like valuable and worth it. Like, she is extremely strong because she is so smart. For example, one of the things that they do is they have weekly fights. I forget what they call it, like sparring or sparring, like that. Sparring. So she figures out who her opponent is going to be at every week, right? So she fucking poisons them. Every single one, like 8 people in a row. And it's like, she has to know their weaknesses. She has to time it correctly. She has to plan for it and make it happen. So she's using her intelligence in order to save herself. And she does it literally constantly throughout the book. And I think even at the end, after all the crazy shit happens, like one of the teachers was telling her, like, it's about balance. Like, that's what makes her strong. It's not just super strong or violent. There's a couple people who are like evil and violent, and you would think that they're going to be the best, but that's a weakness for them. You know, she has the perfect balance. So she goes to this thing. It's fucking terrible. She makes friends. She's, you know, trying to learn who she can trust. And there's Xander.
Xander, bitch. Now you're renaming him Xaden.
What's his name? Oh, Xanden. Xanden.
I just want you all to know that she literally finished reading this book like an hour ago. And she's calling Xander.
No, you're so right. It's Xaden.
You're one letter off. It's fine. I'm just messing with you. But yeah, she meets Xaden, and Xaden. So okay. Damn, this is the issue with fantasy books, is that the world building is very intense. Basically, they have this school because they use this school to the school's protected and has borders from basically the rest of, I guess, the world. They're protecting the people in this school, right? The scribes, the writers, the healers. They are literally, you know what, you're right. They're kind of like Hogwarts, right? But they're just like, they have borders protecting everybody. And there was a rebellion, like, I don't know, 40 years back, 30 years back, something like that. People who led the rebellion were killed, and their offspring all became writers, or, you know, they went through the test to become writers. Like, they didn't kill their offspring, they didn't kill their kids, but they told them, like, you have to fight for us, basically, or else they would kill them. So Xaden is one of those his father was actually the leader of the rebellion. So he's like the bad, brooding, like, just yummy, dark boy. And one of the things that's actually really cool is that, like, maybe not. I'm not going to say it. I don't want to.
Just say
Do we do spoilers?
I can edit it.
Okay.
Yeah, we do 100% doing spoilers. Like, people who watch this they know there's spoilers.
Okay, amazing. So Xaden has these, like, well, everybody has these marks on them. Not everybody. What do they call them?
The kids of traitors?
They all have marks on them, and relics, kind of. There you go. That's what it's called. And Xaden has, like, extra relics. He has, like, them coming up his neck, whatever. He's so hot. Like, in my mind, he's so hot. He basically, when he sees Violet, when she's doing the initial trial,
he hates her.
He hates her because Violet's mother killed his father, who was the leader of the rebellion, and she's like the general for the riders. So he literally hates her, and she thinks that he has a vendetta against her and wants to kill her, and is going to kill her once she gets into the riders quadrant.
And he says that too. He, like, tells her, like, no one's allowed to kill you because it's up to me. I'm gonna kill you. I just want to wait for the perfect time. So it's like torture. Like, they even say, like, a cat playing with a mouse before they kill him. Yeah. Like, that's for like 40-50% of the book. It's like that.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's because I've just read so many fantasy books. I already knew the second that I saw him, or met, no, I didn't see him, but the second that I read about her crossing the parakeet, I knew that they were gonna fall in love, because there was like foreshadowing, like the author did, like she was like, oh, I looked behind me and Xaden, there was like shock in his eyes.
But she also only feels it in her scalp. Like when he walks into a room, she feels him there. So there's always from the very beginning like a sense of intensity between them.
And Xaden is in his last year or his third year, I think.
Third year, yeah.
Third year, and so he's like a wing leader. Like he's very high up in the ranks in the school. You have to bond with the dragon once you're in school. Like all of these trials and tribulations they go through, sparring and shit like that, it's survival of the fittest. Like people die, and once you finally pass a bunch of tests, you basically go into an open field with a shit ton of dragons, and they either choose to bond with you, you die, or you don't get chosen, and you have to redo your first year all over again of school.
Or in that circle, like when you go into there's like 100 dragons, like when you go into that circle, like you said, a dragon chooses you, or they don't choose you and you have to do it again, or someone in your like class kills you.
Yes.
Like people are trying to kill you too, because
forgot about that.
Especially her, because she's the daughter of a general. And they're like, and she had Dain protecting her the whole time. And Xander hates her. Like all the kids of the traitors, they hate her and want to kill her. So when she goes into this pit, she finally makes it against all odds, against her best friend, her childhood friend. And at this point, she hates him because he never believed in her. She's like, I can do it. And he's like, no, I need to protect you. And it's like very sweet. But at this point, she has proven it. Like she has proven it like 5 or 6 times that she is capable, and he still doesn't trust her to make it and be strong enough to do it. So, she hates him. She's mad at him. There's tension between her and her best friend. So she's in the circle, and 3 kids of the traitors, 3 traitor kids. I don't know how to say it, but they're
I forgot what they're called.
There's a name for it, I know, but
no, they're not. And he's not. You're talking about Jack?
Yeah, isn't he a kid of the traitor?
No, they're not. No. They're not. He's just I think he's just
evil.
Because he wasn't I think he's just literally evil for no fucking reason. Like he tried to kill Violet in the beginning, like the first where she crossed the parakeet or whatever. Like he was trying to kill her basically, and he was just evil for no fucking reason. She's really good with blades because she's super agile and stealth, and she's been like working out and like doing all these things to build her muscles, whatever. So she basically fights back. And Xaden is watching over her as she's like fighting these 3 people, and he is not allowed to interfere. So when you are in this open field with trying to get a dragon to bond with you, people are trying to kill you, like all this shit, like the people, like the wing leaders are not allowed to help you. So she's fighting off 3 people by herself, and they're not even trying to kill her at one point, because they find the dragon. That's who they're trying to kill.
Oh, that's what it is. You're right. They see this little golden. I picture her so cute and so like
she's
tiny.
So cutie pie. So basically, they're trying. I think they do attack her, and she actually sprains her ankle running from them. But then she looks back, and the fact that I remember this, I read this book months ago, is disgusting. This is how you know I'm obsessed. So she looks back as she's like running through whatever the fuck. This might be, don't quote me on this. I might be a little bit off, but she looks back and. There's a cutesy little pie dragon who's like a golden dragon, and she's small, and they're basically trying to kill the dragon, these 3 people, because they're like, oh, she's not worthy, she's a small dragon. First of all, bitch, it's a dragon. Like, it could be a small dragon, she will still kill you. Are you dumb? Like, that's how like entitled and just dumb and evil they are. They think they can kill a small dragon. Like, please be fucking for real.
Who are you to say that this dragon can't exist?
I just don't understand. So they're
so stupid.
And also to know, it's literally should never kill a dragon. Like, it's like law. Like, they're literally just not doing anything. They're just making up their own shit. So basically, she comes back to fight for this dragon. Because she's like, oh my god, this dragon is like defenseless, like I have to help her. I feel like she felt connected to the dragon because she felt like that at some point, where she was like defenseless and like nobody, like, she couldn't protect herself kind of thing. So I think that like that's the reason why she like went to help her, amongst her just being like she wants to help everybody, but
she wants to do the right thing and just
Yeah.
do right by people all the time. Like I see her being like the queen of all the realms or something. Like that is how great she is.
Like the peacemaker. Like she really just wants things to be like morally right. And I think it's I really think it's because like she just hasn't had that herself. Like she is so weak. And I think she uses her intelligence, like she's had to use it her whole life. And I think it just made her this person that thinks she can fix things. You know what I mean? Anyway, so she goes to protect them and she does some damage with her blades or whatever. And then the main mean person, Jack, I think is his name, he's about to like get her with his sword or something, and then the biggest dragon of all, because there's a bunch of different dragons, there's like red sword tails, there's whatever, there different dragons like are
green, orange, black,
yes, there has not, this black dragon specifically is the biggest dragon that is unbonded, right? The other black dragon is literally bonded to the sergeant or whatever is the highest ranking in an army, that the other black dragon is bonded to that person. So this black dragon is the unbonded dragon, and he hasn't bonded with anybody in 100 years because his rider died. He literally was like, I'm never bonding with anybody else, and he's literally the strongest dragon. This motherfucker swoops in and he basically bonds with Violet, and she's arguing with him. Like, I cannot do. I love their banter. It truly makes the book for me. Like, I love it. But so this guy swoops in. I guess he sees her protecting Amarantha, which is the golden dragon, and he's like, I'm bonding with you, whatever. And she's like, why would you want to bond with me? Like, I'm literally broken. And he's like, I know what I'm doing. Get on. And
like, who the fuck are you to tell, like, a dragon can... First of all, it's huge. She said she could barely make it to his ankle. In the book, I just read it. She said she could barely make it to the ankle. So that's, like, what, 5 feet? So this motherfucker is huge. Huge. And she's telling him, like, arguing with him. Day one.
Literally day one. Crazy. I love it, though, because she just, like, she wants to know. She's so curious. Like, so she's like, why the fuck are you? And he's like, I know what I'm doing. And then the unspeakable happens. Dragons are very proud. Like, they do not, like, there's like this rule where it's like humans don't meddle in the business of dragons. They set the rules for this universe, and they never bow down to a human ever. This fucking dragon, because she's so small that she can't get on him,
and she's also hurt. She's also hurt because of her ankle.
Yes, that's true. He actually like bows and puts his leg down, so she's able to climb onto him. And on top of that, when you bond with a dragon, they have to fly with you so that you don't fall off or whatever. He basically utilizes like the muscles in his neck to hold her on to him while she's riding him, because she's so small that she would slide off otherwise. So he's like working extra hard to stay bonded to her.
And then, craziest thing never happened in the history of the world. She also bonds with the golden little, I was gonna say dinosaur. What is it?
No. I mean, I guess dragon.
Dragon. She bonds with that, so she bonds with 2 of them.
Yeah. So when you go back after bonding, or after a dragon bonds with you, you go back. Oh, and also they can read each other's minds. So how dragons and humans talk, it's telepathically. So when you go back to the school, you basically are in a courtyard, and you have to tell like the scroll keepers, like the scribes, you have to let them know like, hey, this is who I'm bonded with. This is my dragon. And she's going to go to tell them like, oh, I'm bonded to Taryn. I don't know. I forgot his first name. And then Amarantha tells Taryn like, hello, I'm here too, which is the little golden dragon. And she's like, I don't know if I could do that. So basically this bitch causes a whole ruckus, because now she's bonded to 2 dragons. The dragons have to have a whole meeting in their dragon land and verify that this is okay. But
and meanwhile, the humans are also having a meeting, but all the like students are like, it doesn't really matter what the humans say, because it's up to the dragons. Like, the humans can say, no, this is not allowed, but who's gonna tell the dragon? No one. So it's whatever the dragon wants. Like, whatever the dragon people say.
It's so funny because, like, I think, like, this is what I love about fantasy novels is, like, you can see such similarities in the muggles of the fantasy universe, like, the normal people. It's just, like, who are you, like, as a human to say what a dragon can do? Like, just like that, like, Jack and whatever, like, it's a small dragon, but bitch, if I see a dragon, I don't care how small it is. And we're talking, if we're saying a small dragon, like, this dragon was probably what, like 20 feet maybe?
Yeah.
Like, that's small.
Yeah.
I am not telling I'm not trying to kill no small dragon. Like, I'm gonna die. So it's just funny, and it's super telling that, like, they like to keep up a semblance of control, the humans in this book, like the people that are heading the army, like they like to have the semblance that they have some control, but really we know who wears the pants, and it's the dragons. Obviously, they're dragons.
Yeah. No, 100%. So it turns out.
Yeah, go.
No, wait, no, what were you going to say?
No, you go.
So, dragons also have, like, lifelong mates. The human's bond does not compare to that of two dragons. Like, a mother and a baby, like, humans does not compare. Like, your love of your life does not compare to two dragons that are mated. So, I don't even know how to say it. How do you even describe it? You go.
Terran, who is the big black dragon that mated to Violet, that bonded, not mated, excuse me.
Yeah.
His mate is Sigel, which is Xanden's dragon. So now they basically can all read each other's minds and feel each other's feelings, essentially. Well, yes,
you can, yeah.
I have to watch myself because I read the second book, so I have to be careful.
I
want to, like, I'm like, fuck, because I was going to say something else. I'm like, actually, no.
Yeah, no, don't.
No. I was about to say something, but because I was going to continue on to add to that. I'm like, no, stop. Let's talk about them separately because they have, like, their own storyline, right? Like, there was one time where Violet left the campus at night, like what you were saying, Vanessa. She was poisoning people. That was one of her things that she was doing in order to win. She went to go pick berries. Basically caught Xanden having a huddle of all of the kids that were part of the rebellion. Like, he was kind of having a huddle with them. So that would be like treason, essentially, like if she wanted to tell on them. But she kind of like overheard what he was saying, and he was just helping them get through the trials. Because if you don't pass the trials as somebody who was, you know, the offspring of somebody who was in the rebellion, they pretty much they'll kind of just kill you. Like, it's not really said, but they're pretty much going to kill you. So he takes it upon himself to be the protector for all the kids in the rebellion. So she, like, sees this thing in him, like, she humanizes him a little bit in that moment, I think, where she's like, wow, like, he's sitting here protecting all these people. Like, he doesn't have to do that, you know? And so he sees her, and she was like, you knew I was here? And he's like, yes. And then she was like, I'm not going to tell on you. And he was like, okay, I guess I won't kill you then. Something along those lines.
Right.
And it's the first time that they kind of, like, give each other some leeway, and you kind of see the little sparks, like, going. And then he starts, does he start helping her a little bit? Like,
I mean, he helped her during the dragon thing. Like, he did not help her, but he wanted to help her. He, like, took a step to help her.
Yes,
but he ended up not having to help her. So there's a lot of small little things. Like, she's holding a secret for him. He's like, oh, okay, I owe you. Yeah. And so he later pays her back in like a very sweet way. So it's just like tiny little things where they hate each other, and like it's tension, and like every time they see each other, it's like, you know, she's flipping him off. He's also like a higher up, and she's talking shit to him and flipping him off and hates him. And, you know, she's a first year. So it's like,
but she has a mouth on her. Yeah. 100%, she has a mouth on her. Yeah. Like, and you could tell that by how she talks to the dragon, right?
Yes. And then when the dragons, you know, when she is chosen by the dragon, and, you know, the two dragons are mated, which is Xanden's dragon, it's like they're miserable because they're like, great, like, I have to be with you until at least one of us dies or the rest of our lives, like, and they're dreading it. But like, as you were saying, Marbz, like, you knew, like, at this point, by that point, you knew that they loved each other. You knew that it was gonna happen, because there's no way that it could be intense. So it's like almost like, what's it called, enemies to lovers. Like it's definitely that's what this is.
I would say it's like mild enemies to lovers. It's funny because I was on Book Talk at some point when this movie was happening, and there was people that I think it's enemies to lovers also. Like, I would agree with you, but there's like some books out there, bitch, that it's like 2 books before they even like have a semblance of liking each other.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if I could play the long haul like that, but anyways,
No.
I do think it is a little bit like of enemies to lovers, and they were like found enemies, right? Like, it was like within their family to hate each other.
Yes. It was like passed
so,
down to them. They didn't actually hate each other. Her mom is the reason why his dad died, and his dad was the reason why her brother died. So she's also mad at him too. So they hate each other.
Right.
And
yeah.
It's fucked up. It's so fucked up. So then a bunch of shit happened.
I literally died. I literally closed the book and I instantly bought the other one and read it.
I was literally telling my boyfriend earlier that I am so happy that I did not read this book when this book came out, because I would be pissed to wait 3 years for the next book to come out. Like, I'm glad that I'm reading this and now that it's all out, so I can go read the second one right now.
100%. Basically, what happens is
a bunch of stuff happens. They're still getting tested. The humans, once they're bonded with their dragons, because of their dragon's power, the humans are able to let out their own power that they have.
Signets, yes.
Yes, exactly. For example, Dain, his is he can read people's mind by touching them. Xanden can control the shadows. Someone else can control metal. Like, there's a bunch of different things. So they're getting tested and they're learning how to channel those powers and use them. Because, again, the whole point is that they're going to be in war one day. So they have to be fighting, and people are dying still. Every fucking chapter, people are dying. And you have to really get really good at using your powers, because the whole point is to, like, protect the world that they're in, whatever it's called. The country, the continent, whatever.
I forget.
So one of the excursions, one of the things, they go and they're supposed to be there for 5 days because they won another mini challenge. So
it's like a trial, right?
Yeah.
It's a trial, and one of the not the mom is General Sorengale. The whatever is higher than a general. Or no, lower. I don't know. He basically sends them on this quest. It's like, what's it called? It's literally like this quest that they do to finish off the year. And Violet is in Xanden's wing. So he's like the wing leader, and then you have different squads within that wing. So they send that wing, the 4th wing, literally, like they send them to this trial, whatever, but they're basically sabotaging them. One of the sergeants in the army, because he doesn't like Xanden, because Xanden
wait. Are we talking about the one where
confused.
are we talking about the one where she sees her sister? We're not talking about that. We're talking about the last one, right?
I don't know. Which one are we talking about?
So there's one where they go and when they're there,
and they see her sister. Yes. Okay.
So that's not what we're talking about. But
you're right. That's not what
we're going to the last one. We're going.
You're right. Sorry.
So the last one, Dain touches her because Dain realizes, at this point, Xanden and Violet have fucked and they're in love, but they're not in love, and they have to fight it because they can never be together. He's leaving in a year, but their dragons are together. Like, it's so fucking dramatic, but it's like, it's just like, that's stupid. Like, I love you, I want to be with you, I can't. It's like stupid like that. And Dain, her childhood best friend, realizes that. So he touches her and he's like, I'll miss you. And you think that you're saying he misses you because he's realizing, like, oh, I officially lost her. Like, you are no longer my best friend. You have gone to the dark side. You are now with Xanden. Like, you're in love. You guys are a thing. I have lost you, right? Later on, we realize that Dain, when he touched her, actually read her memories and saw that Xanden had told her a secret of his, that when they're in those meetings, like you were mentioning earlier, in those meetings, they actually meet in the old town that they burned down, where the rebellion happened, where Xanden grew up. So now Dain knows that secret, and Dain follows the rules. He never breaks the rules for anyone, not even for Violet or anything. So when he finds out that Xanden has been rebuilding the town that has been burned down and where the rebellion happened and where his dad was, he tells them, the head people, and they sabotage.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That's what they sabotage. But you didn't say about Dain.
Oh no, I didn't say about Dain.
I think that's a huge part. I think that's a huge part.
No, you're right. But the only reason I didn't say that about Dain is because I literally don't give a fuck about it. I do not care about that man.
I know, but for Violet,
I can't stand him. I literally
think
don't
for Violet
care.
that was a big thing.
But you're right. No, yeah, because and honestly, like when he did that and he touched her face, I knew what he was doing. Like, because she made it very evident that he was touching her, and I'm like, this motherfucker is gonna do some dumb shit because he's stupid. I literally, when I tell you, I hate his character.
I hate him.
That's why I think it. Like, I also didn't remember that because you're right. There is that other one where they see the sister, but I think I was going to the same place, which is they're sending them to this like last trial, I guess, for them or whatever. It's supposed to be like a battle or whatever, like a fake battle or whatever. But they send them to. I don't want to. I don't know. Because I'm scared I'm going to say something that's not.
Okay,
that's
so I'll
from
say
the
it.
second book.
So they send them to this battle or whatever. And in this battle, Violet realizes that this folklore that she has been told, like think of Shrek. It turns out at this battle that all the characters in Shrek are real. Like all these things that when she was a kid, she thought that they were just stories and lessons
like nightmares.
learned. Like nightmares, like folklore, like La Llorona. There's like different. There's so many different like folklore stories to teach you a lesson, and that's what she thought they were. But turns out that all of those things are actually real. And her dad, who was a scribe, left her a note and kind of alluded to the fact that the current people in power erased the fact that all those things were real, that they knew, and they rewrote history, and they've been lying and keeping secrets and keeping people in the dark when in reality they knew that these things were real, and now they're sicking them on these kids. Like they're literally kids that are just learning to be riders and like warriors. There was like a town of like 300 people, like a little town. If those town people weren't there, they could have left. They literally could have flown away and not fought anyone, but because there was 300 people, like a little village, they had to like protect them and try to save them and fight against these. I don't know. It's almost like Venom. Yeah, there was like a wyvern type thing, which I don't really know what they are, but they kind of sound like wolves, like or a dragon and a wolf, like type of thing. Like,
they're like the evil version of what a dragon and a rider is. They get power from the earth, I think it is. And then the wyvern is attached to the venom, so it's like that's their dragon essentially.
Equivalent, right?
And they're like attacking this town. They're like having to protect them, right?
Yes. No, 100%. While they're battling, Liam had been protecting Violet for several months because so many people were trying to kill Violet because she has the best dragon. She has a really good power with like lightning. Her mom is like the sergeant, and she has Dain and now Xanden. Like everyone hates her, right? So she needed protection, so she had Liam, and so we love Liam. He's like a little brother that's just following Xanden's orders, protecting her,
Sweetie pie.
And they're friends. Yo, I was crying when he died.
I sobbed. Like when I tell you, I literally closed my book and I didn't read for a day because I literally was sobbing. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Of all people, you're gonna kill?" I was like emotionally unfucking well. And just so dragons, if your dragon dies, the human automatically dies
within like a moment, like 30 seconds later, the human dies. So once his dragon dies, they're like, Liam, and they're all scurrying to like bring him to his dragon so that he can like die with his dragon.
And this is all because Dain fucking told the sergeant where the fuck they be going with Xanden.
I hate him.
Bitch. Yeah, when she texted me, this bitch texted me, "I love Dain." I literally I convulsed. I was like,
I revoke that statement. I revoke it.
I rebuke. Like, no, but it's funny though because this whole time, like that, all of this is happening. Like, it's so interesting to me because Violet just becomes so sure of herself. Like, I think in like a way where she's like, I'm meant to be here as a writer. Like, this is what I'm meant to do. The one thing that pisses me off about her is like this back and forth with her and Xanden. I'm like, God, like they fucked and are in love with each other, like obsessed with each other. And they're like, I don't know.
And she's like, you didn't tell me about this secret world that you're rebuilding. Bitch, If he told, like, what don't you get? Like, this is not, and he even told her at one point, he's like, it's more than just me and you. And like, so he's very smart, he's very wise, he's very mature, and she's coming into it. I think she is coming into it.
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to point out about Liam before we get too far away from him, they were like foster brothers, him and Xanden. What's the word? Yeah. Both their parents were dead, and so they grew up together. So he owed Xanden his life. And so that's why he was so close with Violet, because again, Violet and Xanden are now close, and then he dies.
It literally, I just want you to know that storyline gets sadder.
Fuck. I can't wait to read the second one. So then she gets hurt. She uses her lightning powers to like save everyone. Everyone's saved. She gets stabbed, and so she
also takes powers from Amarantha, the golden dragon that she's bonded to. Has the ability to freeze time. Her powers are super powerful because she's such a baby dragon. She hasn't really developed her powers. So when you're a younger dragon, you're supposed to sleep for a really long time and you develop like control over your powers and stuff like that. Nobody has ever bonded to a younger dragon. Ever. Literally in the history of time.
No one's ever seen one, I don't think. I don't think they even know.
No one's ever seen one.
They think she's a mini dragon.
They think she's a mini dragon, but she actually is an adolescent dragon. Like, she's young. You're not supposed to bond to them because it's dangerous, because they can literally burn you out. Like, you can burn out from taking like somebody's the power of a dragon, and especially somebody who doesn't have control over that power. So in order to save everybody, whatever, Violet uses Amarantha's like freezing power, which takes a lot out of Amarantha and also takes a lot out of Violet.
Yeah.
So everybody's hurt. Like, she's especially hurt. So Xanden is like, I need to save her. I need to take her somewhere where she's going to get fixed. They don't want to go back to school because the school knows that they're traitors, or they think that the school verified that they're traitors. So they don't want to go back to the school. They're like, where the fuck can we take this bitch to get healed? And where does he take her?
He takes her to the town that he's rebuilding that was burned down because the traitors were all there. And there's a healer that comes in.
I knew it.
And it's her brother. You knew it. There's no way you knew it.
I swear to God. And this is why I'm pulling up my iPad right now. I'm going to tell you right now. Because I literally, and I'll tell you the very fucking moment that I knew. Because I wrote it down. I literally put a note. I was like, her fucking brother is still alive. Oh, let me find it. Please hold.
Her brother also, he died. He was killed by, I think, Xanden's dad, or because of Xanden's dad, like in that war or in that battle or whatever. And he wrote a book to Mira. Mira's their sister. And he gave it to Mira and encouraging her to be strong, to be a good writer, because, their little sister, Violet, is paying attention and she's going to be a scribe. And Violet could never do this. So you have to be strong and amazing, blah, blah, blah. So the whole time you kind of hear a little bit from him, from Brennan, her brother. You hear a little bit from him. So then the last scene, literally, that's the last 3 sentences. They open the door because he's knocking on the door, and it's Brennan. He healed her and like made her okay after getting stabbed and using her power. So what page did you know?
It was at the end. Like, I didn't know in the middle of the book. I just knew before they announced it. I knew it. I was like, when she was like in so much pain and she was saying like, I deserve to die because Liam died and it's because of me, whatever. She passes out before she meets Brennan. She was like, Xanden, a familiar voice calls out, but I can't place it. Bodhi, maybe one of the second years. So many strangers. Wow. You have to save her. I literally was like, I swear I'm going to show you right here. I literally wrote, you can't see it, but I literally wrote, it's fucking Brennan. Her brother is 100% still alive because they made it a point to highlight the fact that he was a healer throughout the whole fucking book. I'm like, yo, they brought this bitch to Brennan. He's not dead, and he's part of the fucking rebellion, and everything is messed up, and her father was literally trying to fix it or whatever. And I think that her sister, I don't think she gives me like very like straight and narrow. Like, she's a straight shooter. I think she does not know anything. Like, I don't think she fucking knows anything that's fucking happening because she's fighting for her country, so to speak. And she's like a really, really good rider, and she's a really good soldier. But yeah.
Several times throughout the book, I would say 3, maybe even 4 times, Violet has these little thoughts of like, wait, why aren't they telling us this? wait, why is my
Oh
folklore
yeah.
book that I grew up reading, that my dad had me read, how come it's not in the library? Like, why is it not there? So there's several times, there's even times where she knows there's shit happening outside their realm or whatever, and the people in
Yeah.
charge aren't telling them. Several times throughout the book that she is like questioning, why aren't they telling me? Where's this information? And then she finds out that, you know, the folklore type animal creatures are real, and Brennan is alive, even though in the scribes, in the history, it says that he's dead and he was in roll call. So they're like, to me, anything that she's ever learned as a scribe, it's all a lie. You don't know anything. It's just propaganda to me. That's what I take, because
I I think, to be fair though, I think that there's a lot of history that is still true, but they took out the most important parts, right? So
the
I
convenient
think
parts.
Right. I think 100%. And that's why I was saying it reminds me so much of real life. And that's why I was like, oh, it's like realistic magic, because the politics are there. The real world is there. They are just trying to feed you this fake shit. And they're trying to give the savior complex. Like, they're trying to be like, yeah, we're here to protect you and save you and board up the walls or whatever. Meanwhile, there's literally a fucking genocide happening. I mean, it's very, very fucking telling. I mean, literally. Like, it's us, but
real
honestly,
life.
like, no, it's actually occurring right now. I love fantasy books that do that. I tend to read most of the ones that I do. I feel like they do that, but I like when it's believable. It gives like babble.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna let you
Yeah.
finish and hear what you were saying, and I was like, don't forget to say about babble. But it's true. It's exactly true. Yeah.
Right? It's like, obviously not, you know what, I'm not gonna lie, a little like part of me inside is like, maybe magic is real, but maybe that's because I've read too much fucking fantasy over my whole life. But like, to me, like, babble, I'm like, this happened somewhere. I don't know fuck about anybody, but you know what I mean. And I feel like that's what makes me so invested. Like, I love Violet so much because she has so many good qualities about her, and like, she just wants to do right by like everybody, by like humans, and like, she wants to protect dragons, she wants to protect humans,
and Xanden too.
Oh yeah, Xanden 100%
too.
Yeah,
and you think that he's like evil, he's the rebellion, he's against like the throne or whatever. That's not what they say, but basically it's like that vibe. Like, but at the end of the day, that's why they love each other. It's because they both are like, we have to do what's right, and what these people in power are currently doing, like, is not right. And so she's now part of the rebellion with her boyfriend and with her brother, and it's lit.
I know, so good. And I would argue that her moral compass is a little bit more, I don't want to say it's better. I think she is very
stronger.
Like, no, I don't think she's stronger. I think that she has because she was brought up as a general's daughter, I think there's things that need to be done in a rebellion that she's not going to be okay with. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they are leading a rebellion, right? And so I think, like, and these are my thoughts also, like, at the end of this book, she's going to have a problem with certain things that need to be done in order to head a rebellion or be part of a rebellion, right? Because
100%.
and I think it's going to consume her, because at what point do you become, what is she going to do with herself?
Well, people are going to die. When she killed, I think Jack, was it?
She like hated herself, like she wasn't good about it, even though he was evil. Like, she didn't feel
and
good
tried to kill her several times, and it's like, and he's like, you know, the world is better off. And also, I'm not saying this is in the real world, we have to kill bad people, like murder everyone, no, but it's in the name of the book, like this book, that reality that they're in, like, like, he did not need to live, like, and she's not okay with it. So I think you're right. I think she's going to continue to struggle with it, but because she's grown so much, I think that she's going to continue to grow. And I'm telling you, if her or Xanden die, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed if they die. We don't need to talk about it. Let's talk about a couple of things that I want to talk about before we end. I really like a lot of aspects about the book. I feel like the author did a really good job of being, like, super inclusive. First of all, her best friend, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Rhiannon or something.
Yes!
She's bi. Yeah, she's bi. She has, like, a girl, not a girlfriend, but she's hooking up with a girl.
Also
and then
black.
She hooks up with the guy. Is she?
Yeah, she talks about, I'm pretty sure she's black, but my image of her, like, I think of somebody with, like, really beautiful curly hair and, like, brown skin. I think that was described. I don't know though, but possibly.
And then you also there was a deaf person. They were doing sign language. And then they also did a lot of mental health. Like there's grounding that they can do to shut off their dragons. And so when they described her grounding herself, that was like mental health stuff for me. Like when you're feeling depressed, just because you're thinking of those things, like ground yourself and be present and don't pay attention to the negative stuff or to the stuff that you don't want to pay attention to. And there was other stuff too. I took notes, but I just finished the book 30 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago. So.
I love that it's that fresh in your brain.
Consent. They also did consent constantly with Xanden and with Dain too. Like even Dain was like, oh, if you don't want to like talk to me, I won't or whatever. Or Xanden was like, you're upset, I don't want to have sex with you just because you're down or something. Like I loved the consent part. And so I feel like just in general there was a lot of like progressive, forward thinking like things throughout the book, and I fucking loved that.
I do agree, and I think it's that's why after reading this, like I felt so connected to the characters, because when you have topics like that and you discuss things like that, it makes you just humanize them so much, and it makes them like so much realer. I've read shit like Haunting Adeline where it's like, you know, it's like super dark, but this book specifically, I feel like it's nice to have something that's sexy, but it's not the point of the
it was an addition. Like the storyline was good, you liked the characters, and I loved their sex scenes. I loved 100%. How detailed it was. Like it was like I clicked my Kindle, I want to say 8-9 times, so that's pages of reading about them having sex. It was great. I loved it.
Also,
I love their sex scenes.
He just loves her so much. Like he does so many things that just like he's just showing that he loves her without like outwardly doing it.
Right. He's also big as fuck. He's like over 6 feet, and like when he takes off his shirt, everyone in the room looks at him without his shirt on. Like he's just like the finest man in that bitch, I feel. Like cuz he's like strong and like an elder, and he hates her, but he also treats her real great. Like I fucking love Xanden.
So the reason that I like Xanden above all is because this man literally really believes in her so much. Like he's never ever and he doesn't even know her, right? He's never looked at her as just this weak person whose bones break and whatever. And he has just met her, and he met her initially like, what the fuck is she doing crossing the parakeet? Like why is she even here? Like this bitch is literally about to die. Like so he only knows that of her, right? He doesn't have any context of who she is, and he never once like drew an image in his head about her like as a man looking at a woman. Like he never was like, oh, this is a weak woman. Like he never did that. And I think he's a girl's girl. Like I think he's such a girl's girl, and I love that. And Dain is such just not a girl's girl. Like he's such a follower and goody two shoe, but like
a brown noser. Like fuck off. Like I hated
literally. And there's this one point that Violet just came back from getting her dragons, whatever, and she's bonded to 2 dragons, and he's like, what's happening? What happened out there? Whatever. And then she's like, I have 2 dragons. Oh my God. She's like basking in this, like, I have 2 dragons. That's never happened in the history of time. Mm-hmm. Dain is like, well, you have to choose Andarna, because he's trying to insinuate like, oh, because you're weak, you have to choose the weak dragon. And then she's like, she looks at him like, why? And he's like,
she would never be able to handle that big dragon. And then what Xanden does is, that's one of the nice things that he does for her. He creates like a satchel or like a saddle type thing, so that she can go into it, so that she can ride her dragon safely, because she's so small and like that she's not able to ride him well. So Xanden, instead of being like, no, you can't ride your dragon, which is what Dain was trying to do, Xanden made her like a contraption so that she could go on her dragon and ride him safely and still be able to succeed and be an amazing, strong rider.
It's and it's just insane to me. It's so beautiful. Him. Like he literally supports her however he can, and he literally never makes her feel inferior. He's like, he gets these things made for her without her asking or anything. He just knows, like, this is something that she needs, and he still tells her, like, you are super strong, like, you should be super proud, like you're doing the damn thing. And it's so funny because literally Dain does the complete opposite, and like he like 100%. Doesn't even believe her. Like when she's telling him, like, oh, what happened with Xanden was watching and he saw everything that was going on, he's like, no, that's not true, whatever. And like,
he infantilizes her constantly, and I hate that. It's very patronizing. Like believe me and believe in me, and just, I don't know, he was so corny.
Exactly. And it wasn't even to the point where it was like, he was like, I'm really worried about you, but like, let me help you or whatever. Like, let me help you fight. Like, let me teach you, let me train your muscles, whatever. This is exactly what Xanden did. And that's why it's like, he was literally hurting himself. Like, he literally put himself in the doghouse, and it was like, any feelings that she had for you prior to coming to this school, like, they're fucking null and void because you're a loser. You're a loser boy.
Literally. And the fact that like Dain wouldn't like bend the rules for her when Xanden was going to bend the rules for her, like there's just a certain time, you know, he's just, like you were saying before, he's like a rule follower, a brown noser, like he's just a goody two shoes. We don't like Dain, but we love Xanden. Like, can you imagine if you had this big ass dragon and your man who like fucks you so good and he made you a fucking saddle to get on your dragon? Like, I love you.
Yeah,
like, I love you
because Terran using his strength to like hold her in his saddle, like it was too much for him. Use all his power. He was still gonna do it because he also was, you know, and he was still the most powerful dragon doing that. But like, they can read all of each other's minds, right? Well, Seagull, which is Xanden's dragon, Terran, and whatever, they can read each other's minds. So like, he just literally wasn't told anything, and he's like, let me get her a saddle. And Terran's annoying, so Xanden had to measure Terran and do all this stuff, and nobody likes being touched by somebody that's not their rider. Even though like Xanden's mate is Sigel, like nobody.
So they're closer. So Xanden and Violet's dragon are closer than other people are with other people's dragons. Like, that's not normal. But because the two dragons are mated, he's like close. You know, they're cool.
Yeah, I think it's mostly because of Violet. Because I think if it were another circumstance, like, it would be like, you stay over there when you need to be with your rider, I need to be with mine, and then when we need to be together, we'll be together. But like,
it's also hard because their dragons hear their inner thoughts, so they hear Xanden thinking about Violet. Like, Violet's dragon hears her thinking about Xanden, so they're all just like a little family. It's like they're like double dating constantly. Like, that's
they are double. That it's like literally a toxic. Like, and the little a toxic relationship throuple.
And then I don't know how to say her name, the gold dragon. She is she's the adopted baby of their dragons.
She's the adopted baby of everybody.
No, but her parents died, so they like adopted her. Oh my god, it's so sweet. So they're literally like a little family.
They are like a little family, and it's very cutie pie. And I love that it gives us like a little, because there's like, it's some fucked up shit happening, right? Like these people are literally lying to like the entire society. They're literally killing people that were part of the rebellion. These people that were part of the rebellion were literally people that were trying to save. The same people that Xanden is now trying to save. And you know, everybody that's part of it. So it's like, it's hundreds of years, not hundreds of years, maybe 40, 50 years of well, they actually did delete hundreds of years of history.
They did do that. But his, you know, Xanden is what, 20 years old? I think he's 23. So his dad has died within the last 20 years because he had to conceive him. So his dad died.
I'm saying, I wonder when this rebellion started, is what I'm saying. Like, because Xanden's dad, was there a rebellion before Xanden's dad? Kind of thing?
Was he just like finishing it and they got caught or something? So wait, so can you just tell me, I don't want to talk about the second book, but I do want to know, is the second book still with the same characters, or is it like about, let's say, Liam's sister, and then the other characters are just supporting characters?
No, same characters.
Okay, cool.
But you do get
like new characters and other things, new stuff happens. Like, yeah. But I just don't. I want to know if it's. Yeah. I'm sure. I'm 100% sure. And so this book was 650 pages. I read that shit in less than 48 hours. Like, I started on page 50 because it took me a while to get into it, but like page 50, page 70, I was really into it. And I started this morning. I texted you when I was at 60%, but I think I started at 50% because I had been reading already for a couple hours. So I read over 300 pages. Boom, boom, boom. The second I was done, I took a shower. I did my makeup. I blow dried my hair, and I came here and I recorded with you. So shout out to me. That's a crazy. I've never done that. I usually
literally shout out to you.
Things.
Yeah. I love that. That's the experience that you had with the book, because I feel like I talk to you about this so often. Like when I'm reading a book and I'm obsessed, like I'll tell you, I'll be like, bitch, I literally finished this in a day. And you're like, why?
I've done it like once or twice before, but
for certain books, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But like, this is why I say this all the time. This is why I love fantasy books. This is why you always catch me reading fantasy books. It's because of this. Like the world building, I don't care. It's unmatched.
Yeah. And I felt so corny, like knowing the like quarters and the realms and the venin, and like you just feel like, yo, I'm so stupid, why do I know all this shit? But it's so good.
And I think like I don't know, to be fair, like bro, like real life kind of like sometimes it's just a little too much. I just want to learn about like these scries and dragons, and I want to fuck a dragon. Like who doesn't want a dragon? But I think that it's like a good escape, and I think that like there's so many lessons to be learned, right? Like all the things that you touched on, and even like it talks a lot about like the patriarchy, and like I think Dain for me is like a typical like misogynistic character, right? And I think that like he does what the typical like misogynistic man would do, like how they would treat a woman. Like he gives me that vibe. Like he's not inherently like, maybe he's not inherently a bad man, but he's just like, he doesn't even realize that the things he's saying are putting somebody else down, like putting a woman down. And because of, you know, like everything that he was taught like as a man growing up in this society or whatever. So I think like when there's very real themes like that, it makes it so much easier to digest too, because you're like, wow, like it makes you just so invested. Like, yeah, she's going with the man that doesn't do that. Like, I love that for her. Like, so it's like you gotta invest in their storyline and everything. Obsessed. Literally 20 out of 10. And the second book you're gonna read just as fast. I
heard the second one was better.
It is. Let me tell you something. Do you know how I tell you like my work bestie Pooja? Shout out Pooja. But I went to work. I was 70% done, or 60% done with this book, okay? I went to work and I was like, Pooja, I'm telling you all about this. I broke down the fucking plot to her. I was literally telling her everything. She started reading that day. Pooja finished before me. The series, the 2 books, she finished them before me. She was like, Marbz, tell me when you're finished. We finished on the same day, but I finished like later that day. Literally, she finished before me. I'm like, and that's how good I think this book is. Like, I'm like, I like this better than A Court of Thorn and Roses, that series.
100%. No, 100%.
100%.
1000% better. And I feel like A Court of Thorn and Roses was very like childish, and it reminded me, it had the same like stupidness as Twilight. We're just very juvenile. Yeah. I felt very stupid.
I think you should give the other books a chance, because
100%
the series gets infinitely better. Like the first book, it did get me hooked because I love fantasy. It did get me hooked, but every other book past the first book was literally better.
I'm not hating on it. I just like this better. I just like this better.
I do too. Literally, there's no question. Like there's no question about it. This book takes the cake for me, and 100%. I just can't take any slander on it. I just can't. I simply can't.
Sure. No, for sure. I love it. Well, this is like the longest episode I've ever done. Thank you for being on my show, Marbz. We're gonna have to do another episode where we talk about like how we met, like our friendship, all that good shit. Because I did want to talk about that, but this book did not leave any room for that at all. Like we only had time to talk about the book.
Not even introducing the book. In the beginning, we're like, by the way, Violet, oh my god.
But they'll see it in the title and shit. It's fine. They'll be fine. But I want to remind everyone that's listening, follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube. I have weekly YouTube videos. They're not dailies anymore. They're weekly Thursdays. So yeah, follow me, Chicklet Podcast. Thank you, Marbz, for being on. Bye. Bye.